that letter, which I found particularly moving. A lot of people were in tears at the end when Lovecraft's breathing his last as he quotes that letter. Poe and his Helen were obsessed with certain stars too. I wrote a little verse called Astrophobos about how the neutral and eternal stars can be objects of terror. Do you have that, Mary? Do you have that?
Yes, I do. She was holding it for me.
If I have it. Yes, pass the hat.
I know.
Yes.
No, I got it. Thank you. All right. Crimson burned the star of sadness, as behind the beams I peered. All was woe that seemed but gladness, ere my gaze with truth was seared. Cacodemons, mired with madness, through the fevered, flickering leered. Now I know the fiendish fable that the golden glitter bore. Now I shun the spangled sable that I watched and loved before. But the horror, set and stable, haunts my soul forevermore.
A man of science should blush to hear such lines quoted back to him, and yet it was in the realm of the fantastic, the eldritch and terrible, that I was to gain what pitiful renown I have enjoyed. I peopled the world with Cathulu and the elder gods, unspeakable obscenities banished here by the great old ones. Another monster, he who is not to be named, dwells in the Hyades. A race of great telepathic beings lives on Yoga, the black trans-Neptunian planet that astronomers have yet to discover. Still, the stars were clean and uncomplicated. Next to them, what I love best is Providence itself. Not creep much, but I have little contact with persons, but the city as it exists from the hours of twilight till sunrise. This is the pure Providence. History is architecture, which I can explore as a traveler if I turn over the stones of a necropolis. Not what man is, teeming, nasty, hive-like creature, but what he builds and leaves behind. Oh, Union Station, Providence. There is no other place for me. My world is Providence. I am Providence, and Providence is myself. Together, indissoluble. That's
Real play. Speaking of Shoggoth, a Shoggoth on the roof. And this is probably, I mean, all the songs are great and funny, but this one's probably my favorite. And it's instead of, if you're familiar with Hitler, you know, if I were a rich man, this is if I were a deep one from a Shoggoth, a Shoggoth on the roof. Yes. Oh, hold on. Okay. If I were a deep one, blub, 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 blub. All day long I'd swim beneath the sea. If I were a deep one, oh, terrify the tourists. Blub, 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 blub. If I were an icky, icky fish, scaly, slippery, frog-eyed kind of man, I'd make my lair a deep, dark cave with some fungus right in the heart of Devil's Reef. A bowl of boulder, pestilent coral walls, the ramulose and arabesque floriation spiraling so far beyond belief, with ichors seeping from my chamber halls. I'd fill my reeks with wrecks and corpses and ships and men for my friends to see and hear.
It fits right in
Yeah.
the holes along.
Yeah. If I were an icky fish, scaly, slippery, frog-eyed kind of man, I see my kin the marshes hopping like some fish frog things with their bulging milky eyes, worshipping Dagon with the unholy rites. I see them putting on crowns and shuffling like a shog. Ah, what a hellish sight they are, croaking at the sea both day and night. The most psychotic men in town would come a-looking for me. They would ask me to adjure them, like the mad Arab himself. If you please, old man Marsh, oh tell me, old man Marsh, asking questions that would drive the mad insane. Blah, 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 blah. And it won't make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're deep, they think you really know. If I were a fish, I'd have the gills that I lack to swim down below the deep rill, yea, and maybe have a seat on Cthulhu's tomb. And I discuss the Rillier text with some deep one friends countless hours every day, fixing for the human's final doom. Oh, if I were a deep one, blah 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 bloody bloody blah. All day long I'd swim beneath the sea. If I were a one, oh, get to eat the torrent. Blah 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 blah. Cthulhu, you make the people run. You saw fit that flippers have I none. Don't you reckon that I'd get more done if I were a
Hey, that was a plank.
You can get through. You can do it. Yes.
Now, for those of you who had to miss the church service this morning, this is your sermon. I was clawing prone through the sands of the Australian desert, and around me shrieked such a tumult of wind as I had never before known on our planet's surface. My clothing was in rags, and my whole body was a mass of bruises and scratches. Full consciousness returned very slowly, and at no time could I tell just where true memory left off and delirious dream began. There it seemed to be a mound of tight blocks, an abyss beneath it, and a monstrous revelation past, and a nightmare horror at the end. But how much of this was real? My flashlight was gone, and likewise any metal case I may have discovered. Had there been such a case, or abyss, or any mound? Raising my head, I looked behind me, and saw only the sterile, undulant sands of the waste. The Damon wind died down, and the bloated fungoid moon sank reddeningly in the west. I lurched to my feet and began to stagger southwestward toward the camp. What in truth had happened to me? Had I merely collapsed in the desert and dragged a dream-racked body over miles of sand and buried blocks? If not, how could I bear to live any longer? For in this new doubt, all my faith in the myth-born unreality of my visions dissolved once more into the hellish boulder doubting. If that abyss was real, then the great race was real, and its blasphemous reachings and seizures in the cosmos-wide vortex of time were no myths or nightmares, but a terrible, soul-shattering actuality. Had I, in full hideous fact, been drawn back to a pre-human world of 150 million years ago, in those dark, baffling days of amnesia? Had my present body been the vehicle of a frightful alien consciousness, Pelagian of gulfs of time? Had I, as the captive mind of those shambling horrors, indeed known that accursed city of stone in its primordial heyday, and wriggled down those familiar corridors in the loathsome shape of my captor? Were those tormented dreams of more than 20 years the offspring of stark, monstrous memories? Had I once veritably talked with minds from reachless corners of time and space, learned the universe's secrets past and to come, and within the annals of my own world, for the metal cases of those Titan archives? And were those others, those shocking elder things, of the mad winds and the daemon pipings, in truth a lingering, lurking menace, waiting and slowly weakening in the black abyss, while varied shapes of life drag out their multi-millennial courses on the planet's age-racked surface? I do not know. If that abyss and what it held were real, there is no hope. Then, all too truly, there lies upon this world of man a mocking and incredible shadow out of time. But mercifully, there is no proof that these things are other than fresh phases of my myth-born dreams. I did not bring back the metal case that would have been a proof, and so far those subterranean corridors have not been found. If the laws of the universe are kind, they will never be found. But I must tell my son what I saw, or thought I saw, and let him use his judgment as a psychologist engaging the reality of my experience and communicating this account to others. I have said that the awful truth behind my tortured years of dreaming hinges absolutely on the actuality of what I thought I saw in those cyclopean buried ruins. It has been hard for me literally to set down the crucial revelation, though no reader can have failed to guess it. Of course it lay in that book, within the metal case, the case which I pried out of its forgotten lair amidst the undisturbed dust of a million centuries. No eye had seen, no hand had touched that book since the advent of man on this planet. And yet when I flashed my torch upon it in that frightful megalithic abyss, I saw that the queerly pigmented letters on the brittle, aeon-browned cellulose pages were not indeed any nameless hieroglyphs of Earth's youth. They were instead the letters of our familiar alphabet, spelling out the words of the English language in my own handwriting.
States whether it's up to me.
Yes,
It's appropriate.
not the first time. Keith, maybe you should tap dance while I'm doing this.
Providence.
Or jump.
Here we are in Providence, Lovecraft territory.
Now all you have to do
Truly
is
Lovecraft territory, because he loved Providence.
All right, enough of that nonsense. There you go.
That's getting deep.
You don't like my improv?
These are really good.
It's okay for a few seconds.
Keith. I don't know. Really, they're both good.
Providence
No, the,
by H.P. Lovecraft.
this is
Where bay and river, tranquil glen, and leafy hillsides rise, the spires of Providence ascend against the ancient skies. Here century domes of shining gold salute the morning's glare, while slanting gables, odd and old, are scattered here and there. And in the narrow, winding ways that climbed over slope and crest, the magic of forgotten days may still be found to rest. A fanlight's gleam, a knocker's blow, a glimpse of Georgian brick, the sights and sounds of long ago, where fancies cluster thick. A flight of steps with iron rail and belfry looming tall, a slender steeple carved and pale, a moss-grown garden wall, a hidden churchyard's crumbling proofs of man's mortality, a rotting wharf where gamblers' roofs keep watch over the sea. Square and parade, whose walls have towered, full 15 decades long, by cobbled ways mid trees empowered, and slighted by the throng. Stone bridges spanning languid streams, houses perched on the hill, and courts where mysteries and dreams the brooding spirit fill. Steep alley steps by vines concealed, where small pan windows glow at twilight on a bit of field that chance has left below. My Providence, what airy host turns still thy lighted veins? What winds of elf that with grey ghost people thine ancient lanes? The chimes of evening, as of old, above thy valleys sound, while thy stern fathers, 'neath the mold, make blessed thy sacred ground. Thou dreamest beside the waters there, unchanged by cruel years, a spirit from an age more fair, that shines behind our tears. Thy twinkling lights each night I see, though time and space divide, for thou art of the soul of me, and always at my side.
I wonder if Lovecraft wanted that to be the anthem for Providence. Such music.
Those readings were good and creepy. They are correct. They're right in the pocket. You're a real ghost.